Mr. S.A.Mahdi was born in Shamsabad, India in 1926. He was educated at Alibhai Muslim University, India, where he obtained his bachelor's and master's degrees. He was a talented horseman and polo player and served as captain of the university riding club. He won the annual championships on 2 separate occasions. He excelled in reciting and writing poetry and had published 3 poetry books in Urdu. He had won several awards for his outstanding publications. He used to organize regular mushairas at the Aligarh University. These events became popular both within the university and in Aligarh town itself and were well attended by renowned poets. He loved nature, including plants, trees, birds, fishes, and insects, and actually had 2 lion cubs as pets. Mr. S.A.Mahdi was a multi-talented individual with great abilities as a leader and an organizer. He had high standards in discipline, etiquette, and a strong drive towards promoting higher education and upright character in the students under his care. He had initiative and drive and great passion for training students to become not only good at studies, but be upright individuals who would command the respect of society because of their honesty and conduct. He was competent in getting work done by achieving targets successfully, and he knew how to deal with the staff to get the best out of them. He had a very special skill of befriending individuals and getting them to join in to enhance the activities he had chosen to promote. His diplomatic skills and communicating ability was a great gift that he utilized to achieve a lot for the benefit of others. He was truly an individual who could cultivate a poor quality neglected soil and bear sweet, beautiful looking fruits from there. He was a true, devoted and dedicated reformer. He was the ideal candidate for the post of principal for the Alibhai Panju Primary School in 1956. Let us provide a brief history of our community education in Mombasa. In 1904, our Jamaat had established a madrasa in Bustani, Imambada. The primary goal was to teach Holy Quran and fiqh masails to both genders. In 1930, the community decided to introduce proper elementary secular education classes. In 1932, an application for government approval and grant was lodged, and subsequently the school was officially recognized by the Education Department, and a sum of £140 monthly was given as a grant. Children were taught up to Standard 5 and thereafter were sent to various government and private schools. Two most capable community members, Mr. Abdullah Kanji and Mr. Wali Muhammad Ladda, were given the heavy task to fulfill needs of acquiring a custom-built school. They put in selfless efforts, firstly to acquire a plot and a grant from the government, and secondly to raise the funds amongst members of the community. They invited Maulvi Ali Muhammad Jafar Devji to address the gatherings at the mosque. The fund was floated with full backing by the Maulvi's sermons from the pulpit. A plot of 2 acres in Kizungo area was allocated by the government, as well as a grant of £17,500 was approved. A total of £21,000 was raised from among the community members, leaving a shortfall of £7,500, which came from the family of Mr. Alibhai Panju, a well-known businessman and philanthropist. The school was named after him in recognition of his highest donation. Total cost of this project stood at £45,000, which was a large sum in those days. Mr. Vaisi, a member of the Finance Committee of the Municipal Council, performed the foundation laying ceremony of this project on 17th December 1951. And the Deputy Governor, Sir Frederick, performed the opening ceremony on 17th March 1954. The school was built in a good location with 2 floors with garden at the front and a football ground at the back. It was the next step forward from the education provided at the Bustani Mosque in Mombasa Old Town in very basic format with poor standards. The success of our learning institutions, Alibhai Panju Primary School, Jafri Academy, and JIPS, which stands for Jafri Institute for Professional Studies, all these institutions have been as a result of the collective efforts of our community. The first principal at the new school was Mr. Siddiqui, who spent a short time in post as a principal. The Education Board of Mombasa Jamaat invited Mr. S.A.Mahdi to take up the post of principal at the Alibhai Panju Primary School on 17th January 1956. Now let us talk about the challenges faced by Mr. Mahdi upon becoming the principal. Things were at a very low ebb. Discipline was lacking, and cleanliness and tidiness were absent. Pupils didn't wear uniforms, and some wore slippers instead of shoes. The level of education was right at the bottom, where the students in the senior classes were unable to write sentences in English. None of the students had passed the KAP examinations. The school, although with new buildings, was a drab sight. The inspector of schools reports had not had anything encouraging to say about the school. School assembly was something unheard of by the pupils, and at the first school assembly meeting called by the principal, one could see the children tumbling, scrambling, pushing, and fighting their way to the assembly hall. Pupils had listless, apathetic looks and were not able to express themselves.
Mr. Mahdi firmly believed that education without due emphasis on discipline and character training was a farce. He believed and reiterated to the pupils that inner discipline of the soul was more important than the outward discipline of an individual. He further emphasized to the pupils that they endeavor to be successful not only in their studies but also in the extracurricular activities provided by the school. He stated that healthy sports, in addition to fostering self-reliance and hardiness, also provided the invaluable benefit of team spirit, which, he opined, was the foremost quality to be derived from sports. There could therefore be no better method to make a pupil a well-balanced individual than to be both an avid sport and a keen student. He frequently reminded the students of the school's motto, "Let your light shine. Let it always shine brilliantly, and let its beams brighten life's path." Mr. Mahdi informed the pupils that their school would be judged by their performance and behavior. He advised them to work hard and behave like gentlemen, both within and outside of school, hence upholding the credibility of their school. Mr. Mahdi strongly believed that the moral education of a pupil was a primary responsibility of the school. The school authorities had a duty to provide the best possible opportunities for the healthy moral development of their pupils, and thus prove worthy of the trust assigned by parents to the school. To that end, Mr. Mahdi initiated awards such as Good Pupil of the Day, the introduction of Honest Pupils in Assembly, the Honesty Certificate, and the appointment of prefects and monitors. Such recognition was intended to uplift the moral development of the students, and Mr. Mahdi encouraged all the pupils to benefit from these activities. He conveyed the message that times were changing fast, and it was important for the pupils to be equipped with the best education and qualifications for both head and heart to face the grim future. Every morning during assembly meetings, two pupils who represented both the boys and the girls sections respectively were introduced by the principal as the Good Pupil of the Day. These fortunate ones then saw their names printed for the day on a board at the main entrance of the school. There was great competition amongst the pupils to get themselves chosen. This competition even worked wonders with the black sheep of the school. Another very striking characteristic observed in the children was their extreme honesty. Any article dropped on the school premises, be it a pin or a jewel, eventually found its way to the principal's office. The honest pupil immediately became the proud recipient of an honesty certificate and was duly commended at the next assembly. Linguistically, spoken English was enforced both within and outside of the classroom. Even the youngest of pupils in the school tried to express themselves in English, which replaced Gujarati as the medium of instruction within the school. Extracurricular activities such as debate, drama, gardening, sports, and scouting were also introduced in the school. Wednesday afternoons were set aside for debate, drama, and gardening. This gave rise to keen gardeners and actors, together with budding orators.
Assembly Hall morning meetings. Every morning, teachers and pupils gathered in the Assembly Hall. Surah Fatiha was recited first, followed by the selected Good Pupil of the Day boy and the Good Pupil of the Day girl. They were called on stage, congratulated by the principal, and the school was informed to take note of their achievements. This was followed by a short speech by the principal on various topics on different days. Topics would include cleanliness of the school, cleanliness of the body, taking care of the garden, and how to excel in studies. His objective was to ensure that the children of the school become decent and respectable citizens. The principal, Mr. S.A.Mahdi, went out of his way beyond his routine responsibilities to reform and train the pupils and really love them as a loving parent would do. He proved himself to be a true trustee of the school as well as the children. Mr. Mahdi was a God-given gift to the school and the children who studied there. Mr. N.S. Leving, a very dedicated teacher, had included a special prayer, Lapayati Hai Dua, that was recited jointly by the pupils at the assembly every morning. He taught pupils how to recite the prayer and also understand the meaning, and he did that with great zeal and passion. Behind, on the wall of the stage, in the assembly hall, was a large, beautiful painting. This was the work of the artistically talented teacher, Mr. Premal Sharma.
On the 8th of March 1957, an unprecedented and memorable event occurred. For the first time in its history, the school participated in the open inter-school drama competition, setting aside its former reservations. Male students from the school performed for the public 2 one-act plays, Robin Hood and A Glimpse of Reality. The shows were a tremendous success, with prizes being awarded to the best actors by Mr. A.V. Hatfield, the Provincial Education Officer. Unfortunately, the school team did not win the cup. This outcome was likely due to factors related to certain cultural traditions which were adhered to during the performances. For example, the use of music and song was prohibited, curtailing the potential for a more lively, jovial performance. In addition, the range of plays that could be performed was restricted by the requirement that only male students were permitted to participate in the event. In March 1958, the school made a second entry into the drama competition. This time, the team was made up of boys from the lower classes, as the senior students were engrossed in their own work, preparing for the KAPE examinations. The plays Birds of a Feather and Chinese Shilling were staged by the young boys, who provided a stellar performance. Most of the participants earned a prize, awarded once again by Mr. A.V. Hatfield, and the house was packed with some of the most eminent personalities of Mombasa. In 1959, the school produced 2 plays, Here with the Wake and A Glimpse of Reality, which were met with all-round appreciation. It was an evening of entertainment which included tiny tots appearing on stage and reciting rhymes. Unfortunately, due to the timing that year of the inter-school drama competition, the school team was unable to participate. The competition coincided with the Islamic month of Muharram, which is a period of mourning for Muslims. That year saw a distinguished gathering, including the presence of personalities such as Mr. J. Pinney, the District Commissioner who presided over the function, Mr. and Mrs. Dev, the Trade Commissioner for India and his wife, Mr. H.P. Bradley, the Inspector of Schools, and Mr. Cockery, the Principal of the Aga Khan High School. They and many others were present to applaud the performances of the young thespians. Mr. Pinney set forth roars of laughter from the audience whilst presenting his speech, following which he awarded prizes to the best actors as judged by Mr. Bradley and Mr. Cockery. The vibrant, successful evening concluded with a rendition of God Save the Queen. The chain had been set in motion. In 1960, the play Michael Shipley's Dilemma was produced and entered for the drama competition, and subsequently the school continued to participate on an annual basis. Each year, the competition saw a variety of performances, including plays, songs and rhyme, and fancy dress entries. The program had become a regular annual event. Teachers from the school, Mrs. Russell and Mrs. Shukla, trained the pupils in drama, and in addition, a professional from the Little Theatre Club in Mombasa, Mr. Boucher, was commissioned to school the youngsters in the art of acting. Until this time, such a focus on drama was unheard of within the community. It was evident, however, that drama, in addition to providing the pupils with a unique leisure time activity, also helped to instill within them confidence, self-awareness, and a host of skills that enhanced their personal development. The pupils' participation in drama club stood them in good stead for the future, paving the way towards a successful career in particular and an enriched life in general.
An annual sports day was held at the school regularly and everybody loved it. Even Mr. H.P. Bradley, the inspector of schools, wrote, "I am a teacher myself and I have attended many such annual sports functions, but I can tell you sincerely that the spirit and enthusiasm that I have witnessed here today, 1st of December 1957, is indeed wonderful, for which I would like to congratulate the principal, the staff and the students." An interesting program of sports and fancy dress competition started at 2 p.m, with pupils taking up their position on the field while their parents and guests went around the classrooms to inspect the students' work on display. Samples of arts and craft, embroidery and needlework, and also students' exercise books giving their day-to-day progress in their studies. The sports program started with keen competition among 4 houses for the championship in flat race, banana race, musical chairs, breakfast race, shuttle relay race, long jump, obstacle race, and tug of war. The climax of the program was the inter-house fancy dress competition. It was a grand sight to see boys and girls in their multicolored national costumes of different countries parading in front of the judges. There were prizes for all, and Mrs. Bradley had the difficult task of giving away so many cups, presents and good conduct certificates to pupils, and mementos to all the members of the staff, including office boys and gardeners. Mr. H.P. Bradley was the chief guest of the day, and kind Mrs. Bradley was patient enough to present prizes to the children, thus enhancing the value of the prizes. The large table covered with innumerable cups of all sizes and other prizes was a veritable feast to the eye. The parents and friends had been able to see for themselves how the children had been occupied during the year in different fields of educational activities in their respective classes. They also witnessed the children's achievements on the sports ground, and they all went home pleased and satisfied. The school had established good teams in football as well as cricket to represent the school. The school cricket team entered the Inter-School Cricket Championships for the first time in 1972 and won the championships and did so for several years afterwards.
Empire and Arbor Day were held annually. The guest of honour in May 1957 was the District Commissioner, Mr. F.P.B. Derrick. The members of the school board and the principal received him, and as the party was rounding a corner of the school, it was halted by Robin Hood and Little John, who demanded a toll for entry into the enchanted part of the garden, the fairy haunts of the Green Fountain. The toll was duly paid, and the chief guest had a pleasant surprise when he saw the fairies, the birds from Who Killed Cock Robin, the walking shrubs, and all the 4 houses of the school assembled there to welcome him. After a suitable welcome was accorded to the chief guest, the usual Arbor Day activities were carried out. The fairies sang in praise of the trees, and the walking shrubs presented Mr. Derrick with a bouquet of flowers. The occasion was a huge success. The District Commissioner, Mr. Derrick, wrote a letter after the visit and stated, "I must thank you most sincerely for the photographs of the Empire and Arbor Day ceremony which were sent to me. They are delightful, and I shall keep them as a memory of my visit to your school. I most enjoyed the tour of what is clearly a most progressive school, and I congratulate you and the school council on the standard of education available to the students. I hope to find time to visit the school on some further occasion when it is in session."